with me, you hear? Hell's coming with me!
And hell hath cometh again. This is another episode of the Outlaw of College Football. Now, a lot of people have been asking me if I might want to change back to a name that I used for a short time, that being the Outlaw of the Common Folk, because during the off season, we are going to dabble more in not just sports-related topics, but probably dabble in politics and celebrity news and just general gossip until we can get back to the college football season, which is our little niche. But, you know, in the meantime, it don't hurt to talk about other things. We're really eclectic in here. I have faith in all of y'all that y'all can talk about more than just college football, right? So y'all let me know what y'all think about that. Should I change the name back to Outlaw of Common Folk and just, you know, have a variety of topics during this off season? And we'll get closer to college football season, and then, you know, we'll just start talking mostly college football. Now, let's see who we got up in here already. Baby DJ, it's the first one in the house. I appreciate that, Baby DJ. Y'all smash the like button and then subscribe and share. Yes, that helps me out a lot. It's the main thing that keeps the lights on around here. Fred Bagley's in the house as well. Howdy, Outlaw. He's got his badge. He's deputized. He's in the Outlaw Posse. And if you want to be in the Outlaw Posse like Fred, get your badge and get deputized. It's $2.99 a month, 75 cents a week. Just click on the little join button over by the subscribe button. Subscribing is free, by the way. A lot of people think this shit's not free, but it's free. All right. Ryan Guy 1218 is already up in here as well. He's our resident Oregon guy. Feels nice to have Ryan Grubb away from my Seahawks. Really. Because he's done a really good job with Michael Penix and Kalen DeBoer in his two stops at, I think, Fresno State and Washington. So we'll take him back. We'll take him back in a heartbeat. But, yeah. Let's go ahead and delve into some of this. Yes, Ryan Grubb was let go after just one season with the Seahawks, which was sort of surprising to me. I mean, thank you, give the man more than 1 year. What did they do? Fire the head coach, right, guy? Did they fire the Seahawks head coach this year? Because to me, that'd be the only way I would see firing a coordinator after 1 year. Yeah, and maybe he wasn't just an NFL fit. Maybe you're right, guy. Maybe he wasn't just an NFL. He wasn't an NFL fit, as Guy 1218 alludes to down here. Let's go ahead and bring up a little article I got for y'all. And first, I'm going to invite a guest or two. Let's go ahead and get that out of the way real quick. So what do y'all think about changing the name back to let me see what we got here. I'm trying to figure this out for you so I can get y'all a guest in here. There we go. What do y'all think about the name change, supposedly back to the Common Folk? Outlaw of the Common Folk. That sound like a winner to y'all? All right, let me go ahead and bring that article up for y'all real quick. Don't want to have too much dead air here. This is from Athens Magazine, one of my go-tos during the off season. Can y'all see that? There it is. It says on Monday, a number of NFL head coaches and coordinators were fired. The latest firing was Seattle Seahawks offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb, per Jonathan Jones of CBS. The former Washington Huskies offensive coordinator spent just 1 year with the Seahawks. In his long year, the Seahawks finished 14th in total offense. It's not too bad. I mean, come on, you only got 32 teams, and it's the elite of the elite. So he finished in the middle of the pack, at least, in his first year. 8th in passing, 28th in rushing. That's probably what hurt him. And 18th in scoring. The Seahawks finished 10-7. That's not too bad. That's almost in the playoffs, but just missed out on a playoff trip, finishing one game behind the Green Bay Packers. Grubb spent his entire career as a college assistant before coming to the Seahawks, and his most notable run included time at Fresno State and the Washington Huskies under Kalen DeBoer. With DeBoer, now the head coach at Alabama, fans at Alabama quickly made the call for the Crimson Tide head coach to bring Grubb back over to Tuscaloosa. Call him home, said one fan. Please, Bama. Ryan Grubb, you are the new OC at Alabama, said another. Alabama, please go sign Ryan Grubb as the OC. Ryan Grubb to Alabama, another stated. And here is Torres on Bama. By the way, Aaron Torres is a pretty good he's a pretty good watch as well. He's got his own podcast. You can go check Aaron Torres out. Aaron, and then spell the last name like you see right here. But he also has a Torres on Bama X account as well that y'all can go follow as well. Ryan Grubb has been let go at Seattle. It's time for Kalen DeBoer to get the boys back together. And then there's a picture of Friends. I don't know why I use Friends. I wish you'd use somebody else besides Friends. But anyway, you get the gist of it. Imagine Keelan Russell and a Ryan Grubb, Kalen DeBoer-led offense if Grubb came back. Grubb was also a play caller for DeBoer during their time at Sioux Falls, as one fan pointed out. Kalen DeBoer's play caller at Sioux Falls, Fresno State, and Washington should already be on a flight to Tuscaloosa, wrote another user. After DeBoer was hired at Alabama last offseason as a replacement for Nick Saban, Grubb followed him over and was named the offensive coordinator. However, he took the offensive coordinator to the Seahawks job shortly after, which probably put Kalen DeBoer behind the eight ball a little bit. That's another thing I want to point out about this whole thing. And I know it's not fair to Nick Sheridan to just, bring Grubb back when Grubb had the chance and the opportunity to stay at Alabama and he jumped at the opportunity to go to the NFL. But that's most coaches. Most coaches have that in the back of their mind. They may not admit it, but most coaches in the back of their mind, they want to be in the NFL at some point because that is the highest level of football. I think it was a mistake for him to go to Seattle, and it looks like that may actually be true now since he was fired. But is it fair to Nick Sheridan? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, Nick Sheridan was saddled with a quarterback in Jalen Milroe and his little entourage out there that I like to call the Cancer Five. That made things a little hard for the coaching staff, I think. Nobody wants to admit to that, and they want to say it's just hearsay. But I'm telling you here, right now, that there's something there. There's no way, man, that is it just Kalen DeBoer, not Kalen DeBoer, but is it just Nick Sheridan's fault, or is it more Jalen Milroe was uncoachable in the kind of offense that Nick Sheridan wanted to run? Now we bring back Ryan Grubb. Are we going to demote Nick Sheridan? I don't think we'll do that. What we might do is bring him back as a co-offensive coordinator. There's a lot of people who's not a fan of the whole co-offensive coordinator, co-defensive coordinator thing, but sometimes you can do that and it's an actual fit. But if you got too much of that going on, as our Oklahoma guest coming in here in a second can attest to, too many co's on the team is like the old adage, right? Too many chiefs in the village kind of deal. Too many chiefs in the TP. But for this instance, I think it would actually be a good thing if they brought back Ryan Grubb as a co-offensive coordinator. Also, when he let Ryan Grubb go to the Seattle Seahawks, it really put Kalen DeBoer behind the eight ball, as I said previously. He already had his staff in place, and then Ryan Grubb just takes off. And it's like the dominoes just started falling from there, and it ended up trickling down, I think, into the season. The first part of the season wasn't really as noticeable, but as you got into the season, you could tell things were just not right. And that the fact that he had to replace an offensive coordinator so late in the game may have contributed somewhat to the friction and the unrest that was here at Alabama in a 9-4 season. Now, a lot of people be like looking, rolling their eyes and looking at you sort of sideways when you say 9-4 is bad. But at Alabama, let's face it, they're spoiled. 9-4, they're not going to be satisfied with that, not unless they go into a shell of about 20 or 30 years of losing and then start winning at 9-4, maybe then. But I think it actually hurt Kalen DeBoer a lot. And I think if he brought Ryan Grubb back, I can't even speak tonight, man. I'm stuttering all over my damn lip. If he brought Ryan Grubb back, I think it would help Alabama immensely. I think it would be a good move. Is it unfair to Nick Sheridan? Probably, but life's unfair, right? So what do y'all think? Y'all think Ryan Grubb should come back to Alabama? Maybe as a co-offense coordinator, maybe as an analyst. Well, I don't know if he'd come back for an analyst job. If we can't offer him a little something like co-offensive coordinator, Ryan Grubb's probably going to be ending up somewhere else at another college and probably hurt us down the road. So what do y'all think? All right. As far as the name change, Ryan Guy says he is fine with both. NIL Commish is in the house. He's going to be our guest in just a second because I got a few questions about Oklahoma Sooners' bright future. A lot of people are really stoked about the newest acquisition from Florida State. Me, not so much. But I'm going to get his take on it and a few other things that he pointed out to me off air that, might be a silver lining for Oklahoma in the future. He says, I like the idea of change if you're talking about things that aren't college football. All right. Going on down here, we got Winston Jordan in the house. Winston Jordan says, Grubb might not be all that in the SEC. You could be right, Winston, but I think Ryan Grubb would be more all that in the SEC than he would the NFL, obviously, because we got a Seattle Seahawks fan in here right now, and Guide. He's really happy to see Ryan Grubb go, although I'm looking at his things, and he's like, he didn't really do that bad for a first-year coordinator. And I don't know. I didn't see. The head coach is still there. They fired Carroll last year, said Guy. Did they fire Carroll or did he just step down? Did he retire or did they fire him? If y'all want to get your comment read out, by the way, there's a little money dollar sign at the bottom. Click on that, write your comment out, then hit send. Don't hit send before you write your comment out or you won't get your money's worth. Write your comment out, hit send. It'll highlight and push to the top, and we will read it out for you. It'll put you above everybody else's comments in the comment section. Rod Guy says 9-4 isn't even acceptable at Oregon. Now I'm fixing to bring a guy in here by the name of NIL Commish and get him to give us a rundown on some of the things that's been going on in the offseason for the Oklahoma Sooners and a few other things that he and I, as I said earlier, talked about off air. What's going on, NIL Commish?
Not much. How you doing?
AKA JJ. Justin Johnson's in the house.
Just tagging along for the ride here.
That's right. Yeah, you done it just last minute. I apologize for asking you last minute to do this.
No worries.
But, yeah, I saw where Oklahoma got someone. I think his name was Marvin Jones Jr. If I got that name right?
Yep.
All right. He's a defensive player for Florida State. They were 2-10 last year. A lot of people are really stoked about this guy. I'm not really understanding why. So as an Oklahoma guy, I wanted to bring you in here. Maybe you can elaborate on that and maybe touch on some of the other things that you said are actually what's more important than even this.
100%. I mean, I agree with you. Every time I see a defensive player, especially on the defensive line, I'm like, we're loaded. I'll just give you, our Mason Thomas is coming back. Dominic Williams is coming back. Jaden Jackson started this year as a true freshman. David Stone will be another true freshman that will probably start next year. He might even, I don't know if he is eligible for a red shirt, but anyway, we got guys on the bench like Nigel Smith, Danny Okoye, PJ Adebaware, who could be a bust. We thought he was going to be a stud, but we're loaded at the defensive line. So when I see these transfers on the defensive line, that's the least of my worries right now. We need an offensive line. I'm not even really worried about the wide receiver position. You got Ben Arbuckle coming in and John Mateer. We were all stoked about that. And then all of a sudden, there's all this doom and gloom and rumors going on. But I have hope for the Sooners next year. How could it not get better than this year? This was one of the worst offenses we've ever seen. So I believe it's going to be better. And we were 23rd in defense, scoring defense this year. We would have been in the top 10 if our offense didn't turn it over so much. I mean, hell, we turned it over in the red zone against Tennessee on the 1 yard line. So there's a touchdown for Tennessee right there. How's the defense going to stop you on the 1 yard line every time? But anyway, I hear a lot of negativity, but I'm sitting here thinking this is Brent Venables' last year if he doesn't accomplish it. So everything's riding on Ben Arbuckle and John Mateer's shoulders for Brent Venables' job. All the pressure's on Brent Venables, but defensive line, we are loaded at. We need offensive line, and that's it. We do have Fasusi coming in. He's probably going to start as a true freshman on the offensive line. And in the last 2 years, we've done pretty good in recruiting for the offensive line. We just don't know these players yet. So that's my rundown as far as everybody. I don't know if it's everybody, but I'm hearing rumors, message boards, videos. It's looking bad, but I have the opposite opinion. I have a lot of hope compared to this year. It's got to get better. I have a feeling. I don't have a feeling. I'm going to guarantee it with a little bold prediction. We're going to be tons better next year on offense. That's what I believe.
If that does happen, and you have the same play from your defense that you did this year, that could translate into probably at least a 10-win season.
Yeah, we weren't even ranked like 100th in offense this year. If we were, we're like 89th. That's not good either. If we were just a top 50 offense, we'd have at least 9 wins this year. We would have beat Tennessee, would have beat Ole Miss, definitely would have crushed Missouri. So
probably would have beat Alabama. Oh, wait a minute, y'all beat Alabama.
Oh, yeah. That was a fluke. And if you notice, let me give you another example. You notice in the Alabama game, we ran it and we ran it and we ran it. And then versus LSU, it's like, let's try to throw it some more. Why? Even versus Navy, let's try to throw it some more. Why? Just run the damn ball and let your defense play their defense.
I don't understand the LSU game, especially because Jalen Milroe did to LSU as a running quarterback. They destroyed LSU. LSU is not good against a running quarterback, so why wouldn't you run the ball?
Like I said, it comes down to the coaching, and Brent Venables is solely responsible because he is the boss.
That's right.
He made a bad hire in Seth Luttrell and Joe John Finley. You've already talked about the coach stuff. I hate that crap. You're either the offensive coordinator or you're not. So Joe John Finley was not the offensive coordinator, but then he became the offensive coordinator. And in fact, he actually did a little bit better job than retard that we fired, but it still wasn't that good. And it went backwards after the Alabama game. So this year was kind of a fluke. Everybody says he's already had 3 years. Why is he still here? That first year, I'm going to give him a pass on.
You got to. There's just a lot of extenuating circumstances going on. But what I noticed, man, was after the whole Cale Gundy situation, and I know Cale Gundy wasn't the offensive coordinator, but it just seems like it was something that just started a domino effect for the offense. It just seemed like the offense was just patchwork ever since then. It's just like they've been just patching it together, just throwing names up there. Seth Luttrell, Joe John Finley, and then they fire Seth Luttrell, who's a co-offensive coordinator with Joe John Finley. And I'm like, how are you going to fire the co-offensive coordinator and not fire the other one too? It just don't make no sense, man. What it means is that guy really wasn't the co-offensive coordinator. He was just there and titled along.
Yeah. And I also believe us losing our defensive coordinator is not a big deal because I don't know this to be true, but this is what I believe. This is my opinion. He wasn't really our defensive coordinator. Brent Venables was, and he was underneath Brent Venables, and he wants full control. That's why he went to West Virginia. That's my opinion. I don't know that to be fact or true.
In the day, man, Steve Spurrier didn't have an offense coordinator, not really. Steve Spurrier.
Lincoln Riley has never had an offensive coordinator.
I get what you're saying. And it's probably the same way on the opposite side of the ball with Brent Venables. So,
well, when Ben Arbuckle comes in here, I think Brent Venables needs to get the hell out of the offensive room. Just stay away from the offensive coordinator and let him do his job.
Now, going back to the Alabama thing that I talked about earlier with Ryan Grubb, he was the original guy we hired, and then he up and left in the middle of a pretty awkward time for us and probably put Kalen DeBoer behind the ball a little bit. Didn't help it being his first year in a very rabid area down here when it comes to college football. You know all about that.
Yeah.
But Sam Shepard says, yes, I do, referring to he thinks that Grubb would be a great bring back. Coach Saban wanted Grubb before he retired, and that is true. That is a good point, Sam Shepard. I forgot all about that. Nick Saban tried to hire Ryan Grubb as his offensive coordinator before he retired the next following year. I think we hired that guy from Notre Dame. Can't remember his name now. But y'all probably can remember his name. But anyway, he did want Ryan Grubb. So there's something there about Ryan Grubb. Ryan Grubb's been with Kalen DeBoer since Sioux Falls. So, I mean, it was probably a pretty big blow for Kalen DeBoer, and we just didn't realize it. What do you think about all that?
I agree with you. I'm giving Kalen DeBoer a pass. Maybe it's not the same situation we went through, but you lost the GOAT, Saban. He's gone. You got to replace him. How many transfers did you – your star wide receiver went to Texas. I mean – you kind of had to fit some more pieces in there. And also, I've never thought Jalen Milroe was a very good quarterback, even though at the first of the season, I kind of started changing my mind. And then mid-season, I was like, no, he's bad. So I don't think Jalen Milroe is the answer. And I don't know if your 5-star sitting in the wings is either. I think Kalen DeBoer is a good coach. The reason why they hired him was I think he was 7-2 versus top 25 teams or top 10 teams. I'm sorry. And nobody else had even close to that record. So what he did with Michael Penix Jr. at Washington and all that stuff, I think it was a good hire. And this is his first season. Like, let's stop with the knee-jerk reaction, Bama fans. And I get where you're coming from because you guys are so used to winning. It's hard to go backwards. Like you were saying, if you have a few, 6-6 seasons and it's not so good, and then you get that 9-4 season, then you're going to be happy. But you guys are used to winning 10 games every season, so it's going to be hard for you guys to go backwards. I get that. But Ryan Grubb, I don't know anything about him. I have no comment on that.
Zach Roll Tide Whitfield wants to know, are you Bama fans or are you fans? Well, we're both. And as Stason Stiegel told him, now he comes down here and asks us, both, how? Well, here's how. I'm an Alabama fan. See that Alabama belt over there? And he's an Oklahoma fan. That's how it works. The two Crimson Nations, baby. That's what it's all about with me. They're my two favorite teams. So if I have some issues or I need to talk about some Oklahoma football, I'll bring in an Oklahoma guy.
I'll be honest, when Alabama first hired Saban, I did not like Alabama, but I slowly gained respect for him. I mean, my gosh, 6 national championships. How can you not respect the guy? He obviously did something right more than anybody else in the history of college football.
Also got a Buddha Bear Bryant right here. Good look every once in a while there, Zach. And I appreciate it, brother. I'm glad you're going to subscribe. Some people get wound up a little bit and they want you to just talk about their team all the time. But that's not my channel. I talk about everything. I don't just talk about sports either. I talk about celebrity news and politics and all sorts of stuff. It gets me in trouble sometimes, but hey, I like trouble. So there you go.
Hey, I'm not going to jump on politics too much, but did you see who had to announce the presidency today in Congress? all that stuff and recounting the electoral votes. Oh, that poor vice president of ours had to announce the winner herself in front of everybody.
She knows how to count.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't even know she knew how to count, man.
Oh, here's a joke. It's not really a joke. It's fact. We might have the first Asian head coach in the national championship.
Asian?
Yeah. Marcus Freeman is half Asian.
Yeah, but if you're half Asian or half white and half black or whatever, black always rules out, right?
Oh, I'm sorry. The first black coach. My bad.
Yeah.
Didn't want to cause controversy there. Sorry,
well,
there, buddy.
Officer Tatum, he's a pretty good podcaster. He's a black dude.
I love Officer Tatum.
And he makes the point that, hey, my wife is white, my kids are half white and half black, but everybody wants to call them black. Well, they're not.
He doesn't like that.
It's half white, half black, man. And speaking of that, I'm gonna bring something up real quick. I don't know how much time you have. If you need to go, just let me know. We ain't gonna get our feelings hurt too bad. Well, I might cry a little bit. I just want to
Well, that just means you care.
That's right. Let's see what we got here. This is a clip I wanted to play the other night and never got around to it. You see that?
I have not seen this. I mean,
can you see it?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
ESPN had a real opportunity. They could have shown that national anthem. They could have shown that United States flag. They could have shown Notre Dame running in Marcus Freeman right alongside the front of that team with a big old American flag. They could have shown that moment of silence, and they could have shown the Superdome coming together and chanting USA, USA, USA in the best possible response to an early morning terror attack on Bourbon Street. They didn't show any of it. They blamed timing. They said they lost track of time. They're lying to you. I know how TV works. They control the clock. They are in charge of it. Some of the DEI bureaucrats at ESPN chose not to show you this because they don't love America like you and I love America and like most of the country does. They're using sports to divide us instead of bring us together. That's the reality.
Man, I didn't know all that, but I'll tell you what.
That shit pisses me off, man.
I love Marcus Freeman. If you haven't seen some of his interviews,
Marcus Freeman is the man.
I love that guy. He's amazing. They keep trying to talk to him about, the whole first black thing, being in a national championship, and he just kind of is like, well, it's an honor, but it's about the team, it's about the university, the faculty, the staff. We're all in this together, and it has nothing to do with just me and my background. And I'm like, wow, what a articulate. He didn't say it verbatim like that, but it was a great answer. And it's almost like the nicest way of shutting the media down.
Well, it's like Clay Travis said at the end. They're using sports to be divisive. They're trying to.
They've been doing it.
They make money by keeping races at each other's throats, man. It's a moneymaker for them. I'm convinced of that. I don't have the numbers in front of me to prove that, but that's just a gut feeling for me.
Me growing up, ESPN was my favorite channel. It was on 24/7. There was my TV didn't get switched to another channel, and then I don't watch it at all now. I mean, I it's not even a thing. I don't even think about ESPN anymore. If I do, it's what we're talking about right now. It's just a joke.
We got a lot of people in here right now. If you want to get your comment read out and answered by me or the NIL commish, just click on the little money $ sign at the bottom, write your comment out, then hit send. It'll push it to the top, highlight it, and we'll answer your question above everybody else's. Because we got 121 people in here tonight. We're doing pretty good. Pretty high numbers tonight, man. Must be that beautiful American flag you got in the back.
USA. Hey, it's January 6th,
Wow. I forgot about that. It is.
Yeah, it is.
The big insurrection, right?
I'm just waiting for this day to end, and we'll see what happens. Like, what's going to happen? I don't know.
I don't know either. I also got some something I'm gonna start doing on here. It's called Memes of the Week. People send me stuff all the time. Because get most of my stuff from the Common Joes and the Common Sallies in the know out there. Without them, we wouldn't be anything, right?
100%. Oh my gosh! I mean, without them, college football wouldn't be anything.
First one I'm gonna share here is an adventure at the grocery store. If y'all are ever in a college town, you might get to see this. I just thought I'd share this with y'all. This is just random stuff. Can you see that?
Yep.
I don't know if you can see it or not.
A little small, but
yeah, it is small. I don't know how to get this thing to enlarge sometimes. But anyway, this right here was the one from Gary Harris earlier today. The breaking news: the Seattle Seahawks have reportedly fired offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb after one season. Wouldn't be surprised if he returns to college football. Could it be Tuscaloosa? We already talked about that and touched on that. Shit's falling in the background. Here's one that I made myself for the Oklahoma people out there that keep losing their staff. Mark Safe from West Virginia taking Oklahoma staff today.
That, my opinion on that. I do not care if we have a defensive coordinator or not, because our head coach is one of the best defensive coordinators in the land, apparently.
And here's a great headline from Mobile, Alabama. South Alabama Jaguars are the only team in Alabama to win a bowl game this season.
Hey, I saw that post you made with the ACC being 2-11 or 2-9 or what was it? Whatever it is, they've only won 2 bowl games this season. That great ACC.
Yeah, the ACC's 2-11, and they're talking that smack about us. And we actually have a winning record in the postseason. We don't have the SECS record that we usually have. And that's why people are giving us such hell. But we still got better record than most other conferences.
Yep. I hope I made a few OU fans a little bit more hopeful out there.
I also got a random funny clip of the day I'll share with y'all real quick. I thought it was pretty funny today. Just to get a chuckle out of it, I can get to come up.
Are you pulling it up? I don't think anybody can see it.
It wouldn't come up.
I just see your email.
Did you hear any noise?
Nope.
All right. Well, never mind then. Just something about the clip, man. It's not working right. I'll have to figure it out later. Maybe this will pull up for me. Let me try this again. One more time for the untechnologically sound in here, that being me. You see that?
Yes.
Is it a dude?
Yep. With the Cincinnati Reds.
Yeah, it says when she's cute, but got that ugly laugh.
Oh, yeah, I saw this. This is funny.
When she's cute, but she's got that ugly laugh. So I get to play now.
Uncle.
What the heck?
Uncle.
That part, golly. Was she motorboating?
You ever had a girl laugh like that before?
That was weird. I don't even know if that's real or not, but if it is, my God.
It can't be real, man. There's no way.
Especially that last part. It's almost like
it's like somebody motorboarding or something.
Yeah. Fred Bagley said hi to me earlier. Hi, Fred.
Fred Bagley, yeah, he's got his badge. He's deputized. He's in the outlaw posse. I remember when it first came out, my TV was on MTV back in the old days. Not sure what you're referring to right there.
When MTV was music television and now it's full of shit.
Yeah,
I watched MTV a lot when they actually showed music.
I quit on ESPN before ABC came into the picture. Only thing I like about Disney and ESPN is Toy Story.
Disney, Pixel.
Yeah, I like Pixar animation. I wish it wasn't associated with ESPN, but it is.
Yep.
Ryan Day might be the first potato to win the Natty. They should interview him. Why do you call him a potato? That's all about.
You talking about Mr. Potato Head?
Yeah. Like I said, on November 5th, America was marked safe from cackling and communism.
Yes. Yes.
She does cackle a little bit, don't she?
Oh, yeah. Oh, it drives me nuts listening to that. And she laughs at her own jokes, and there's no punchline. It's not funny, but yet she's cracking up.
So just to reiterate what I was talking about earlier with Ryan Grubb, you said you don't know a whole lot about Ryan Grubb, but for those of y'all that just came in here, Ryan Grubb did get fired by Seattle, and he was actually the guy that Nick Saban wanted to hire when he let go of his coordinator before his year next to his final year. And so now everybody's thinking they should bring Ryan Grubb back. And like I said, I don't like doing the whole co-offensive coordinator, co-defensive coordinator thing. But sometimes there are situations that maybe you can do it and get away with it. And this might be one of those situations where an extenuating circumstance might allow for that, just as long as it's not something that becomes a habit. Like Oklahoma's been doing, for example. You got a co-defensive coordinator and co-offensive coordinator, and maybe a co-special teams player. I don't know, man. You tell me.
Well, I'll just give you an example of where I started hating it, and that was when we brought back Mike Stoops. We already had Brent Venables, so we made both of those co-defensive coordinators. And then we kept Mike Stoops and thought Brent Venables was the problem. And then he goes on to Clemson to coach one of the best defenses in college. So Mike Stoops was the problem, apparently. And we got rid of – I'm just saying the co-defensive, co-offense. I don't like it. It's who's the guy in charge? That's all I want to know.
Stoops shouldn't have been brought back, and Brent Venables pushed into a co-position anyway.
Agreed. That's nepotism right there. That's
Brent Venables. Yeah, it was. Brent Venables was doing a decent job before Mike Stoops got there, wasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't great, but our defense was formidable. It wasn't like it is like when we had Lincoln Riley. At least it was somewhat decent. We were making some stops. We weren't getting, beat 50-something to 48 by Georgia,
William Meeks makes a good point. And the commitment today is like a white crayon. Useless. Yep. That's true. Also, it's just like these transfer portal people that people get, and they're like all up in arms about it, and they're bragging about they're the number one transfer portal class. Man, to me, that's like bragging about, like I said earlier, that'd be like going and buying a good pair of used underwear from the yard sale. If you're the number one transfer portal class, that's what that's like, man. You're just getting something that's already been used by another team, and sometimes it works out. I'm not saying that all of them end up being like used underwear. I'm just saying that I would say 70% of those players never pan out. I mean, just look at the Rashada guy that tried to sue the Florida Gators because they didn't give him X amount of dollars that they supposedly promised him. He's now going on his fifth team, I think. Fifth team he's transferred to. They're going to have to do something, man. They're going to have to put some kind of rules in place. They're going to have to get with the NFL and maybe come up with some kind of rules so they're not afraid to get sued. I think the main thing is they're afraid they're going to get sued if they try to put their foot down on any of this. So they just need to get with the NFL and see how the NFL does things, and they just need to start going by some NFL type rules. What do you think?
To an extent, yes. I mean, I think like college football has become the semi-pro league. So let's just call it the arbitration period in baseball. They don't make a lot of money the first 3 years in baseball. They have to prove themselves before they can get the bigger contract as a rookie. Kind of like the NFL is starting to do, where you're not going to have Sam Bradford from Oklahoma get a guaranteed $50 million as a rookie anymore. They're not doing that crap anymore. And that's kind of what's happening to college football right now, where you got a high schooler coming out and they're like, hey, we'll give you $1 million if you come to our team. And then he doesn't even see the field as a true freshman. And then they're like, hey, you know what? You didn't play. So you didn't meet expectations. So next year, we're only going to give you $200,000. So that player's out. He's transferring. He's gone. I don't like it. I don't think anybody likes it. And if there is somebody out there, let me know.
It's just it's not tenable, man. It's just not. It's just going in 3 or 4 years, man. It's probably going to be to the point where people can't afford to pay them like they're paying them now.
Yeah,
I just don't get why they don't put their foot down. Do you think the reason they don't put their foot down and make some common sense rules, you think they're just that afraid of being sued?
I don't think that has anything. How can you get sued if you start putting rules in place as an organization, as a collective? You can't get sued like that. Are you talking about just one team, or are you talking about every team?
Every team.
Yeah, no suing. Can't do that. I mean, hell, there's going to be the government's going to get involved in this because they're going to start making laws on this shit. I mean, at least that's what I've been hearing, that, there's going to be rules changes, and hopefully that happens. There has to be a salary cap of some time, or contracts where here's a 2-year contract. If you break this contract and go somewhere else, they got to pay it. The other school that gets you has to pay out your contract, buy out your contract, just like the pros. We don't have any rules whatsoever. A kid comes to Oklahoma and makes $1 million as a true freshman, never sees the field, and then he transfers off to go someplace else. It's $1 million out of our pocket for no reason.
If y'all don't mind, jump out of the chat and hit the like button and the share button. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please hit the subscribe button. That's absolutely free. Lots of times people think the word subscribe means you got to pay something. You don't. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. Those are the big four, and they're all absolutely free. There is a little. What's that?
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. You do your thing.
There is a little button down at the bottom. If you do want to get us to answer your question above everybody else's, you can click on that button, make a little small donation, and push your comment to the top. You can also join the Outlaw Posse. As you can see, people in here with the badges. Fred Bagley, Killer Breeze, among others in here with the badge there, the Outlaw Posse. It's $2.99 a month, 75 cents a week. You'll get a random Four Horsemen shout out on the actual podcast, as well as possibly be the comment of the day. What was you saying, brother?
I'd like to get Killer Breeze's opinion about what you asked me with the whole acquiring defensive linemen and defensive stuff when we need an offense. I'd like to hear what he thinks, because I don't know. I like his opinion on a lot of things.
Well, you said something earlier. You said something earlier in a comment off air and was having a private conversation about the fact that you wasn't really that stoked about Marvin Jones. And I've seen a bunch of Oklahoma podcasts today. That's all they're talking about.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, why are y'all so stoked about a transfer portal player from a 2-10 team? I mean, obviously he wasn't that damn good, or they would have won more than 2 games, man. I know it's just one player, but come on, man.
Well,
and
he might be
y'all need more things like offensive linemen.
He might be a stud. I don't know, but we already have studs all up and down the line, and we got people on the bench that are studs. Like, people don't even know about Danny Okoye yet, Nigel Smith, and for that matter, David Stone. Like, we know he's going to be a stud. He just needed to get a little bit bigger. Jaden Jackson started as a true freshman. I know I already brought that up, and that's another thing, OU fans. We're not used to seeing true freshmen on the field, and we had a bunch of them on the field this year. So I'm not making excuses for the offense. Our offense sucked, but the defense is fine. I'm not worried about the defense. So when I see transfer defensive player this, transfer defensive player that, I'm like, what about the offense? Where's that? Kennesaw State? What are we doing here? You know, I know we got some good transfers on offense, and we got Pasusi as an offensive lineman. We're doing fine. That's what I believe. But I want to see the offensive line get better. That's it.
So it's we're sort of in the same boat in a way, because Alabama's defense played pretty good this year. We only give up 17 points a game under Kane Womack. A lot of people give them hell at first, but the defense was doing pretty good. It was just that Jalen turnover kept giving them the ball, sort of like, in y'all's case with Jackson Arnold and them fumbling the ball and shit. We didn't happen to lose as many games as y'all did, but that's because we were probably a little bit deeper and could get away with some of that shit. But we're in the same boat. So if Alabama brings back Ryan Grubb, a guy that had been with Kalen DeBoer since the get-go, we could see Alabama and Oklahoma both make a significant turnaround next year. Alabama maybe not so significant because they already have 9 wins, but I could definitely see Alabama and Oklahoma in the November stretch vying to go to that inconsequential SEC title game, which I hope we don't. I don't want to play in them title games, man, because you see what happened to Georgia.
Yeah.
But
don't get me started.
Alabama and Oklahoma next year could be contending for a playoff spot at the same time, I think.
I think you need to do one of 2 things. Either you get rid of the buys, because that's bullshit, or you get rid of the conference championships. Like, both of those together don't help each other.
Or get rid of both of them.
Or get rid of both of them and just have a 16-team playoff, or 8, whatever people want. 8 or 16 sounds a lot better than 12, especially all 4 buys lost. Come on.
Exactly.
I mean,
and all the conference champions lost.
Yeah. So it's a
that
joke.
Conference championship don't mean nothing, man. It's
In
just a money grab.
Who did Miami lose to? I don't remember who they played, but
Iowa State.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Come on.
It's because their quarterback played the first half and set out the second half.
They still were only tied at the halftime, though, right?
I've never seen anything that stupid before, man. I'm like, if you're gonna play. Don't come in and play a first half and then leave. And if you're gonna play a half, why wouldn't you play the second half? That's the most important half, right?
Yeah. But why are you playing at all? I agree. If you got a chance of getting hurt, then one down is going to get you hurt. Just ask who's that quarterback from the Jets? Oh my God, I'm brain farting right now. The Hall of Famer that played for the Packers and now is with the Jets. I'm sure somebody in the chat will answer that real quick. Well, I can't think of his name.
I don't normally agree with Michael Wilbon a lot because he's a liberal spastic. But he said something today, man, that made a lot of sense. He's like,
Aaron Rodgers.
You should have never went to 12. He's like, if he's going to expand, that's fine, but don't go to 12. He said, go to 8. He's like, I know you don't want to back off because it's a money grab, but he said 8 teams would have been perfect. They would have been perfect. I mean, everybody would play the same amount of games. Nobody would have been in a disadvantage. Nobody would have had rust on them from having 2 weeks off instead of 1 week.
I really can't disagree with that because number 16 is probably never going to win the national championship.
No, it's either going to have to be 8 or 16, in my opinion. They're talking about going to 14. I'm like, man, just go to 16.
14. Why do they got to be stupid? You know?
Either 8 or 16. That way everybody's playing the same amount of games, got the same amount of off weeks. Nobody's at a disadvantage. And if you're one of the top 4 teams, not top 4 conference champions, if you're one of the top 4 teams, you should get the bye. Or not the bye, but the home game.
Yeah.
You should get a home game. You should get rewarded with a home game.
And think you said this in one of your other videos, and I agree with it, and I thought it myself. Think about the revenue you're going to bring to these hometowns, the home field advantages. Like, you're going to bring more revenue to a playoff game than a regular season game. So I like the home team, 16-team playoff thing. That's awesome.
Fred Bagley says 8 teams as well. Yeah, that's what I am. There's no in between for me. It's like, oh, well, let's meet in the middle and go with 12 or 14 or 10 or whatever. No, man.
One or the other.
It's pretty simple. I mean, y'all try to make this shit too elaborate and try to get all, freaky with it, like you're trying to do some kind of triple reverse play in a football game. It's unnecessary,
Yeah. Well, I kind of agree with 8. I want 16 just because it's fun, gives you more games. Yeah, it might have more injuries and makes the season too long. I doubt that, because before you had to wait a month before you even played in a national championship, sometimes longer.
Yeah, I used to hate that.
Yeah, like you're getting like 4 to 5 weeks off before you play your next game. How rusty are you going to be? I mean, that could be the reason why all the buys lost. They got too much time off.
Well, you could actually probably play the first 2 rounds on campus if you got 16. That would be the good thing about that.
Yep. I like that. I want that. But I'm okay with 8.
And in Tuscaloosa, this town, we don't have much here except for the university. So if that happens, you know what kind of economic boom that is for the community in that town?
Huge.
And you're not giving all that money to these big-ass cities that don't deserve it. You're taking all that Oklahoma Norman money and throwing it into Dallas, or University of Alabama money is going to Atlanta, Georgia. Why are we propping up all these big cities when we could, use that economic boom for ourselves?
Money, revenue.
Yeah, money, revenue for us.
For the TV. I mean, sometimes you know how it goes. If you don't have a logo on your helmet, they don't want you.
These on-campus stadiums are just as big as those stadiums. I mean, Alabama holds 100, I think it's 101
or 102. Yeah.
Yeah, we got the biggest stadium in the state, yet we don't have a bowl game here. We got bowl games in Birmingham, Montgomery, and Mobile, but we don't have a bowl game in Tuscaloosa. We got the biggest stadium. Why is that?
Because they know they're not going to fill up a bowl game unless it's in the playoffs. I mean,
you could say it now, but I'm talking about like in the past, man.
Yeah. Okay, in the past, I agree. But this year, we played at TCU Stadium versus Navy. It was half full, and it only seats 60,000.
What's wrong with y'all, man?
Just saying.
That's a chance for y'all to go down there and open up some old wounds with the Horned Frogs, man. Y'all could have talked some shit to the people down there in Fort Worth or something.
They got some good people at TCU.
We went to the national title game and got treated like a homecoming opponent.
I'd like to be in one of those. It's been a while.
You don't want to get blowed out like that, though. I'd rather just go to a mid-card bowl at that point.
Yeah, that was crazy. That TCU game looked like a high school team in that game.
Guy 1218 says also they need to fix the automatic buys in the city. Like Oregon shouldn't have played Ohio State in their first playoff game. That's true. I mean, that was a punishment for both of them.
I think everybody agrees with that, right, Guy?
There's no way. I mean, Texas got Arizona State, and Texas didn't even win the SEC title, and Oregon gets stuck with Ohio State. A pissed off Ohio State team. They're pissed off. They're talking about firing their coach. They lost to Michigan. They just blew Tennessee out. I think that's going to change. Everybody's got Ohio State penciled in as the national champion now because they're blowing everybody up. But I've seen it in college football my entire life where a team is just blowing people out, and then there's going to be that game where they're just not going to be what they usually are, just like they weren't against Michigan. I fully expect Texas to give them a close game. While I know a lot of you Oklahoma people don't want to hear I think Texas is going to play them a little bit closer than people think.
Oh, I think so. I think Notre Dame's really good. I think all the 4 teams are really good, and I'm okay with the 4 teams that are in there, but I still don't like the 12-team playoff and how it all came about. I think we got 4 of the top 10 teams at the end of it.
Yep. Georgia just hobbled into the playoffs. They were like the walking wounded. They even lost their starting punter.
Oh, man, that's why they're not doing good.
I know, man. They ain't got a good quarterback. I mean, they got a backup quarterback. And on top of that, they can't punt themselves out of, a bad situation. I know people laugh at the punter position, but it's more important than you think.
Yeah, he's got Tebow up there doing the Skittles shitting on top of me over here.
Yeah, I always like doing that, especially when I got an Oklahoma person in there.
Hey, we all were bitter as Oklahoma fans when he left. And then shortly after that, we are all smiling. We are grinning ear to ear these days. So
about what? About Tebow?
Yes, have fun, Lincoln Riley. Good luck with your career. It's over.
The only reason he's still employed at Southern Cal, there's only one reason. You know what that is?
Money.
Exactly. that buyout is even too big for USC. It's like $80-something million. They ain't got that Texas A&M oil money. So, they're stuck with his ass. Couldn't happen to a better team, man. The Skittle Shitters and Lincoln Riley, hand in hand. That no Colin Coward and his dumb ass.
Yes. Oh, God. Maybe he should go to UCF.
Lincoln Riley was talking about going to UCF, wasn't he?
There was a rumor.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I think maybe Lincoln Riley would be best fitted going to the NFL as an offensive coordinator or something.
I keep saying this. He's not a QB guru. He's not a head coach, but he's a damn good offensive coordinator. No matter how much I hate that guy, the facts are he's a damn good offensive coordinator. But QB whisperer? No, I don't think so. There are 5 OU quarterbacks starting in the NFL right now. Seriously, there are. One of them starting only because the other starter got hurt, Spencer Rattler at New Orleans. But you got Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, and Caleb Williams, the Skittle shitter himself.
That's right.
And then Spencer Rattler's even starting. I mean, now the season's over with, but you get what I mean.
Well, Lincoln Riley's had his hands on all of those guys, right?
But he wasn't no whisperer.
They
were all good before he got there.
Lincoln Riley whispering in their ear.
Yeah, he maybe. I don't know. He's definitely whispering Caleb Williams' ear. He's probably painting his nails for him.
Don't paint Utah on your fingernails anymore.
They're having slumber parties and stuff together.
Don't paint fuck Utah on your fingers again.
Didn't they lose 3 times to Utah? 2 times in the same season?
2 times in the same season. 1 time the year before. He was an immaculate 0-3.
So back to what I was saying. We were bitter when he left, but now we're grinning ear to ear. Like that was a blessing in disguise.
It's funny you say that because I used to make videos about Lincoln Riley and Oklahoma together, and I always put my title Oklahoma Smiling. And I put smiling in capital letters, all of it. And it's just like people just hit that shit.
Yeah, because we're smiling.
They want to come in and watch that grill, man. Nothing like grilling Lincoln Riley.
I just read Killer Breeze's comment, but we'll wait on that.
Jack Acker's in the house. He's also an Oregon guy. People talk about Indiana coach being coach of the year, but Kenny Dillingham took a dumpster fire in Arizona State to the playoffs and played Texas to a close one in just his second year as head coach. I agree.
I think Kirk Cincinnati could have been coach of the year, but then he had to play an actual team, and he got his butt whooped, and that's when he lost coach of the year.
Yeah. I mean, I know it was 27-17, but we all know that was a complete blowout. It was like 27-3 late.
Oh, I'm talking about the regular season game versus Ohio State, where they just
that one too.
Mopped the floor with them.
People tried to excuse that. They said, well, Ohio State run the score up at the end. It is your job to stop the other team. Just like Steve Spurrier said, it's not my job to stop my team. You're supposed to stop my team from scoring.
I saw that game. Indiana got dominated. And you could tell just on the offensive and defensive line, they were getting pushed around.
So, where do you think Lincoln Riley and the Skittle Shitters go from here, man? Do you think he's going to make it through this next season? Do you think he's how much does the buyout come down for him? I wonder.
I think he's screwed. Like some of the best players on the team, like 7 of them, entered the transfer portal.
Everybody's entering the transfer portal, man.
Yeah, but
it's like everybody just swapping teams.
I know. And people are like, oh my gosh, Oklahoma had 25 players enter the transfer portal. There's only 2 on that list that I care about. One of them's a wide receiver, one of them's a linebacker. That's it. Nobody else on that list. I'm like, who cares? Those guys are replaceable. They never saw the field anyway.
Exactly. Just like I said, used underwear.
Exactly. They weren't going to see the field if they weren't. And part of it is maybe they were really good, but if they're selfish and they're only looking for that money and that, wanting to be on the field and me, see ya, get out of here.
Speaking of Skittle shit and love, Killer Breeze says that Lincoln Riley does more than that with Caleb's ear.
Does he clean him out with his pinky?
Probably his tongue.
Yeah. I won't go any further with the pinky.
I will.
I know you will.
I wonder if Lincoln Riley gets me two? What? I don't know what you're saying. What's he saying? Wonder if Lincoln Riley gets me two'd.
I'm kind of wondering myself if Lincoln Riley gets me too. It's probably something that's just going over our heads.
It is. I'm trying to reach up there and grab it, but I can't catch it. You're going to have to let me know what you're talking about, right, guy?
That's fear, not ear. What?
Oh, it was a typo. What? Rear, not ear. Oh.
Man, you guys are confused. Oh, rear, not ear.
Rear.
Okay.
That's not fear, not ear. What?
He meant rear.
The typos will put the screwing on you, man. Whoever invented the spell check needs their mouth slapped.
It's kind of Siri, but not Riri. Got me.
Yeah.
The
like
Asian jokes.
Like that old drill sergeant on Full Metal Jacket. He told me, it's like, bet you'd F somebody in the ass and not have the damn common decency to give them a reach around.
Bullshit. I bet you could suck a golf ball through a garden hose.
That'd be Lincoln Riley, man. He wouldn't give you that reach around. He'd just put the effing on you like he tried to do Oklahoma, or did. He actually did. He fractured. I've talked to this about just numerous people. He didn't just fracture Oklahoma. He fractured himself.
Yep.
If he had stayed at Oklahoma, he would have probably been all right, man. He got scared of the SEC shit and run. And that was the dumbest thing he could have ever done.
I agree.
What would have happened was he would have stayed here, married Caleb Williams' fingernails would have stayed here, or stayed there. He probably wouldn't have acted as goofy as he did. But maybe
I don't think he would have, because you living in Oklahoma, we're pretty judgmental here. I mean, just being honest. In LA, they're not.
Well, sometimes judgmental is a good thing.
I agree. I love Oklahoma. Oklahoma is one of the best states in America.
If he had stayed here with married Caleb Williams' fingernails, Oklahoma would probably won 10 games a year. And we never would have known the difference, man.
Well,
y'all would probably continue to lose in playoff games.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem. Before he left for USC, everybody was bitching about Alex Grinch here in Oklahoma. I mean, it was no defense, no defense, no defense. Alex Grinch sucks. That's all you heard. That's all you heard. And then he leaves for USC. We're all pissed and bitter. But then he makes the announcement he's taking Grinch with him. And that's when we kind of started smiling early on, oh, what an idiot. They're still going to suck. And that's at least what I believed. And I think the majority of us believed was he's going to still go to USC and do the same thing he did at OU. He's going to score points, but he's going to get more points scored against him, which you saw that this year for sure with no Caleb Williams. And look what he did with Spencer Rattler. He sucked. And Caleb Williams was sitting behind him. And I remember this. You probably don't know this, but I was at the game. We booed our own team because Spencer Rattler was still on the field, and we knew Caleb Williams was better than him.
Mm-hmm.
We knew he was better than him. And it took the Texas game being down by 21 points for him to finally put Caleb Williams in the damn game. I think he was so stubborn he didn't like that the fans were right. And the fans were more often right that year than he was. And the fans even got like, oh, I can't believe they're booing him. That's so stupid of the fans. Well, they were right.
No, it's not stupid for the fans to voice their opinion. We're paying money, buying this expensive-ass apparel. We pay $70 for a hoodie, sitting in the upper deck in 110-degree index weather, paying $90 to sit in the upper deck, $100, whatever. And I want to hear that shit about the fans shouldn't have a say in stuff, because they should. Jack Acker said his favorite quote from Full Metal Jackets: "How tall are you, Private? 5'9". I didn't know they stacked shit that high."
That's awesome.
But
I
yeah,
need to
man,
rewatch that movie. It's been a
there are
while.
certain instances where fans take it a little too far. I understand that, but I also know that there's people out there that expect you to just be a rollover and be Mary Poppins all the time, and that shit is not cool, man.
Yeah.
So like these people, Jalen Milroe, he was a fine, upstanding young man. Why are you criticizing him? Because he sucked. Why do you think we're criticizing him, man?
That
he might
spurs
be a
on a
fine,
thought.
upstanding young man, but if he's a fine, upstanding young man, that's fine, man. Let him go work for Target or something, man.
That spurs a thought for me. Think about the coach. Think of, like, you're a head coach right now, and NIL has just become a thing. And you got all these players and 5 stars and 4 stars coming in, and they're getting paid millions of dollars, right? As a head coach, are you more prone to being nice to them now because you're like, well, I don't want to lose them. You know, they could just go somewhere else because the transfer portal will let them do it just like that. So there is no more like yelling at your players or creating discipline. You're trying to coddle these players to try to keep them to stay around. That's not good, in my opinion. Sometimes you need to have a coach ripping you on the sidelines, you know, and you're not going to see that very often anymore because they're afraid the player's just going to transfer out the very next season.
Yeah. Alabama had a player, Caden Proctor, transferred to Iowa after the season and transferred back. I said, man, screw that, man. Right guy said when he was talking about Me Too a while ago, he was talking about the Me Too movement when all the Hollywood big shots like Harvey Weinstein got accused.
My body, my choice, but hey, I'll draft your ass to go to war.
What if Lincoln gets accused of rape or sexual assault? Well, that might be the only way they can get rid of him. Actually, they got a loophole right now where they can get rid of him, and they didn't do it. You know, he got slapped on the wrist by the NCAA for some probation. They got some kind of minor probation penalties levied against Southern Cal about 2 months ago. So that's a violation of his contract to get on probation of any kind. So they should use that loophole and get rid of him.
I'm sure he would take them to court, even if Lincoln didn't win, they would still have to spend money on lawyers and court fees. And I don't know that story, but if they had a chance to fire him, I would have. And that's not me being the Oklahoma bitter Sooner. That's me. You know, when we lost him, we thought it was devastating, but it only took 1 year for us to go, oh, blessing in disguise. I'm glad that guy's gone.
If y'all don't mind, jump out of the chat, smash the like button, share us out.
I agree.
Immensely. Help me out a lot if you just hit that like button. Don't take but 5 seconds. Also, if you ain't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. That helps as well. All those are free. Tim Gladden says Oklahoma got worse every year under Tebow. Is that
Facts. True? Oh, 100%. Facts. The defense the offense was still there. He's a good offense coordinator. We were producing offense. We were getting first downs. We were getting touchdowns. The defense just kept taking a step back every single year. The last year he was there, we couldn't stop a paper bag. It was terrible.
I'm not sure about all the phased plasma rifle and the 40-watt range. Hey, just what you see, pal, the Uzi 9mm. I'm not sure what movie that is from. You'll have to enlighten me. I'm a big movie buff too, though. I probably do pretty good in movie trivia. I watch too much TV. Someone like Dan Lanning seems like the last coach who would yell at his players, even suspend the guy who spat on an opposing player.
I don't want to be that guy, but I disagree. Dan Lanning is very vocal.
Yeah, from what I've seen in the locker room, when he called Deion Sanders out for playing for clicks, That shit made me a fan forever.
100%. 100%. That's how you motivate a team right there.
As Buzz Lightyear would say, to infinity and beyond, I will be a Dan Lanning fan because Deion Sanders is a complete jackass. Yeah, he won 9 games this year at Colorado, but that don't mean he's not a jackass. He's still a jackass.
Hey, Dan Lanning took some guy from Auburn. What was that guy's name? You know, the quarterback that's in the pros right now. Auburn couldn't do. What was his name?
Bo Nix.
Yeah, Bo Nix. Couldn't do crap at Auburn. Goes to Oregon, and all of a sudden that guy's a stud. It's probably because of Dan Lanning.
We got 158 people in here, which is almost a record for me. Although I did do 400 or 500 one night when.
How many do you have in here right now?
158.
Nice. Hey, you guys, you can go subscribe to my channel if you want to. I'm kidding.
That's right. I need to give you a plug. I mean, I'll let you do it. Go ahead and tell us where we can find you at.
At the NIL Commish on YouTube. That's all I'm really building right now. That's all I care to build right now. So don't worry about Instagram, Facebook, all that other crap. But NIL Commish on the YouTubes.
A very aptly placed name for a channel in the NIL era.
That's what I was thinking.
We need a commish right now, and hell, if you'd be the commish, I'd vote you in.
Dude, I'd be very strict. I'd be like $1 million is the most you can make as a college player. Sorry, that's the max. Be like, that's stupid. No, it's not. $1 million for an 18, 19-year-old coming out of high school? That's stupid.
Yeah, man, they don't really need more than $5,000 a month.
Yeah, honest. You think these guys are like economic majors? No.
People act like the poor old players never got anything. They used to get stipends, and they got fed some of the best foods, at least out here at the University of Alabama, Bryant Hall. That cafeteria is immaculate. They eat better than most people.
They had plenty of handshakes with cash in there.
That's what I'm saying. And it's like, y'all act like this is something that just started, man. It's like the Notre Dame guy that was on the show the other night with Nick Saban him on game day. He's a comedian. You probably know his name. I don't.
Gillis, Shane Gillis.
Shane Gillis was talking about, well, Notre Dame's winning now because we can actually pay players too, like the SEC's been doing.
Yeah.
Notre Dame's been paying players too, brother.
Big time.
If you know your history, go back to Tutorgate under Lou Holtz. They were paying players and fixing the grades, and
yep.
the tutors were getting sexual favors from the players. So I don't want to hear that BS, man. Notre Dame ain't good because they don't buy the right players and they don't hire the right coaches until now. I think Marcus Freeman was a great hire.
Right guy makes a good point. The last time SMU was good, they were paying their players and they got the death penalty. The most recent time SMU's been good was this year, and they're paying their players again. So I believe that you're going to see some teams you didn't think were going to be good ever again come back up in this world because they have more money. Like SMU is loaded with money. So don't be surprised if SMU becomes like a top 20, 25 team year in and year out.
The Pony Express.
There's a lot of money at Southern Methodist.
What was that guy's name, man? Damn. What's his name? Boy at Mississippi State that passed away. What was his name?
Mike Leach.
Yeah, Mike Leach put his
my favorite coach of all time.
He put his son in the damn outhouse.
He put a player in the outhouse, or
yeah, it was the guy that played for SMU. He was a real famous guy. He was actually an announcer for ESPN.
Oh yeah. I don't remember. Oh God, that guy's no longer on ESPN.
Yeah, well, it was his son. His son's name was Adam, and he put him in the outhouse.
Right guy will probably tell us who it is here in a second. Craig James.
That's it, Craig James, man. It's going to tip my damn tongue, man.
Yeah.
Craig, the Pony James. Yeah, it was Craig James and his son Adam James went to Texas Tech, and he put him in the outhouse, and they cried about it.
And it was horse crap. It was more fake. They embellished that story. It wasn't as bad as what they made it out to be.
No, it wasn't. And the thing about Mike Leach, a lot of people think he needs to be in the Hall of Fame, but he don't have enough wins, or the percentage ain't there for him to be in there. You got to take into account where he had to go to coach, man. Texas Tech was not a great place when he got there.
Here's why Mike Leach belongs in. Sorry, I'm going to interrupt. He belongs in because of this. He single-handedly changed the offense in college football, and it's now trickling into the NFL. All of this Mike Leach stuff and the throwing, screening, even the shovel pass, this is Mike Leach's offense, and you're seeing it trickle into the NFL. So he belongs in every single Hall of Fame, in my opinion. I'm sorry, he's my favorite. I'm a little biased, but that guy changed college football.
He stopped it from it stopped you from having a lot of 9-7 games for damn sure.
Yeah, Oklahoma.
You had to actually try to play the score.
Oklahoma went from run, wishbone. Like that's all we knew here in Oklahoma. And then he comes in with Josh Heupel, and all we're doing is pass. And it was fun. It was so fun.
Now, I will say I agree with Killer Breeze, and that Hal Mumme was the guy that Mike Leach sort of learned that stuff from. You know, Hal Mumme at Valdosta State and later on at Kentucky. So him and Mike Leach were probably like the co-founders of that shit.
Okay, so put Hal Mumme in there as well.
He don't get enough credit. Hal Mumme doesn't.
Well, maybe Hal Mumme, I don't know, but my favorite quote from Mike Leach is, "Oh, you can't do that," and his answer was, "Why not?" I mean, I love that. Just why not? You can't throw verticals all day in practice. That's the only thing you're doing is just verticals all day. You can't do that. And he goes, "Why not?" I mean, I love that about him.
He went from Texas Tech to Washington State, which is really hard place to win.
And still won.
And then he went to Mississippi State, which is really hard place to win. Still won. So, and he was going to get a job with great facilities and backing and everything. And Phil Fulmer screwed him out of it.
I never understood that.
He was going to get the job at Tennessee. Tennessee's athletic director went out to Los Angeles and met with him. And while he was in Los Angeles, Phil Fulmer undermined the athletic director and got him fired. And when he come back, he got fired, and Phil Fulmer made his own search. Because Phil Fulmer was a cancer. And I tried to tell the Tennessee fans that shit. And they're like, "Oh, no, you're just saying it because you don't want him to come back and win a national title." He won one national title, man. He was just a one-off.
Yeah, I didn't think Philip Fulmer was that great of a coach.
No, he wasn't, man. And it's just like, y'all just keep letting this guy come back in, man. It's just like Lloyd Carr at Michigan, man. Once they got his ass out of there, man, Michigan starts winning again.
Yeah. Ed Orgeron at LSU, he won a national title. How did he do after that? Not very good. So
anybody can come in and win one. Gene Chizik.
And look at Ed Orgeron probably had the best team in the world, maybe, arguably, that season. But he didn't recruit that team. He was there for 2 seasons. Once I don't know the facts on that, but yeah, that was a fluke.
Now there are coaches out there that won and actually won a bunch of conference championships that were pretty good coaches. But there's a lot of them out there that are just one-hit wonders. Now Bob Stoops, for example, he won just one. But how many damn conference championships did he win?
I love Bob Stoops.
So
he didn't always do everything right. He made tons of mistakes, like hiring his brother back. I could go on down the list, but I still love Bob Stoops. He had he wanted to win. He was trying his hardest. He made mistakes though.
Fred Bagley said he would have liked to have had Mike Leach instead of Tebow.
100%.
Lincoln Riley was hired. Didn't Leach spend a year at Oklahoma?
Mike Leach? Yeah, 99. He changed the world for Oklahoma. He did. I mean, in 99, we only won 7 games, but we're talking about we're 3-8 the year before, or 5-7. I don't know. It was terrible with the Blake years. And to see that we only won 7 games. We were up by 17 versus Texas. We were up by 17 against Notre Dame that year. We ended up losing those games, but you could already see the offense was like 10 times better than any Blake's offense. And then the very next year, he wasn't there, but Mangino comes through and kind of does the very same offense, similar, and we win a national title. So he changed Oklahoma. He changed college football. That's why he's my favorite college football. He belongs in the Hall of Fame.
He'd say some crazy stuff, man. He'd get on there talking about the damn Pirates of the Caribbean or something, man. Just start saying random crazy shit. Everybody in the crowd would be like,
"Oh, yeah, no, I love it." He'll talk about his favorite chocolate bar.
What is he talking about?
He was like, "Well, I think one of my favorite candies is this, but I absolutely hate candy corn. Candy corn is disgusting, And he'd go on for like 5 minutes just talking about candy.
He said, Thunder OU Center, which is the most attended member of this group
Yeah.
in the house. He says Bob Stoops also went to 4 national championships. That is true.
Might have lost 3 of them, but he went to them at least.
Mike Leach also left a fake playbook for Texas.
Yes, he did. He really did.
I remember hearing about that, man. I was like, oh, my goodness, man. That's priceless, man.
That's how genius he is.
He should be in the Hall of Fame for that alone.
Yeah. I love that dude. He's free. I'm going to go watch videos of him after we get done with this, by the way.
We're going to start a new Mike Leach movement up in here.
Rest
Get
in
Mike
peace.
Leach in the Hall of Fame.
Should for
Maybe
just
y'all
other
didn't wanna
reasons.
Y'all didn't want to put Pete Rose in baseball, but y'all can at least put Mike Leach in, man. Come on.
You know, baseball puts about everybody they possibly can in, but not Pete Rose. I think NFL has the best Hall of Fame because it's hard to get into.
They ain't put Barry Bonds in them in, have they, from the steroid era, right?
I don't care if he took steroids or not. No, they did not. But I don't care if he took steroids or not. He was already a stud before he took steroids. He belongs in the Hall of Fame.
You see how big his head got?
Yeah, he got twice the size. So did Mark McGuire. So did Luis Gonzalez. So did Rafael Palmeiro. All these guys went from like kind of big to holy cow. What the heck?
Sammy Sosa.
Sammy Sosa went from a small guy to a big guy. I mean, yeah. All of those guys got
everybody
jacked.
wants to make it about the hitters, but Roger Clemens was taking steroids.
Yes. A lot of pitchers were. Most of them you don't even know about. I think it was more prevalent than just the ones we know about. I think there was a lot of guys doing it.
Yeah, just.
But 73 home runs. I mean, you beat the crap out of the record by 12 home runs or 11 home runs. That's ridiculous. Clearly, he was on steroids. That's
some good steroids right there.
Yeah.
From black to white.
And then you also have to think he was walked more than anybody that season as well. So,
what do you mean he went from black to white?
Oh, no. I know what you're talking about. Didn't he like bleach his skin or something like that?
Oh, shit.
I don't remember exactly.
He's on that Michael Jackson stuff.
Something like that. I don't know, but I remember seeing something about that. We can't get that high. Sorry. That's not even close. Like he's way more up here and we're like here.
That's right. I hate all that stuff come out about Michael Jackson because I love his music.
Hey, everything these days, I don't know if it's true or not. You know,
if
you come out against Hollywood, they beat you down. Maybe that's what happened to him.
Well, I thought that stuff was true at first, and then I go back and I've been seeing some other stuff out there, and I ain't gonna get into it elaborately, but it's like,
makes you go,
Michael Jackson might not have been doing all that stuff they say he did. He might have just been an eccentric guy.
Exactly. I think he was calling out Hollywood. He was basically saying, hey,
he was, yeah.
I want the rights to my music. He was getting the rights to his music, and then all these allegations come out.
It was these big time Jewish companies that own music, right?
Yeah, probably don't need to go to that area.
I don't care, man. Bring it on, man. I don't care. I'm leaning denomination anyway. I don't care. I believe there's a God, and that's it. That's the bottom line. That's all there is to it.
I do too. Just a matter of faith. That's all.
Well, all right, brother. I guess I'm fixing to get up out of here. I appreciate you coming here tonight and helping me handle this situation a little bit. We got up to 171 people so far.
Rock and roll, dude. That's the most I've ever seen you have, at least since I've been watching you.
Yeah, I had a sort of a extreme situation one night. I think Alabama had just got knocked out of the playoffs or something, or they screwed us out of the playoffs. I done a live stream right after that, like real late at night, and it done like 500.
Wow, that's awesome, dude. That's awesome. How many watch time hours did you get from that one? Do you even remember?
Pretty good bit.
I bet. My God.
But go ahead and let them know where they can find you, and I'll let you get up out of here, and then I'll touch on a few more things between me and them.
Please do. The NIL Commish on YouTube. It's pretty simple. NIL Commish. And that's it. Just check out a video or two, subscribe, hit a like button, all that stuff. I'm new to it. I only have 500 subs right now, and it's growing. But I got a long ways to go. I got to grind. Anyway, thanks for having me on, dude.
All right, brother. Take care.
You too. See ya.
All right, that was the NIL commish. He's an Oklahoma mostly podcaster, and he does some other things too. He also has a band that he's in. He's very musically talented as well. Check him out on NIL commish on YouTube. And you can probably also find him at NIL commish on X as well. But I'm not going nowhere just quite yet. I want to try to answer some of y'all's questions because y'all are the common Joe and the common Sally in the know, even more so than all those media talking heads. He says, later, Outlaw, commish, posse, y'all have a good evening. Well, I ain't gone just yet, but I just wanted to bring in NIL commissioner here. He seemed like he was a little pressed for time when I asked him earlier, so I didn't want to keep him too long. I want to let him off the hook. Thunder OU Center says Mike Leach also left. Already got that comment. Already got that one. So y'all got any more questions for me tonight? Y'all want to give me your predictions for the rest of the playoffs in here? Notre Dame versus Penn State. Who's going to win that? I hope Notre Dame wins. I'm not a big James Franklin fan. So my heart says Notre Dame. My head sort of says Penn State in a way. It's sort of a toss-up game for me, but I'll take Notre Dame. And Ohio State versus the Texas Long Turds. Two teams I'm not really, really fond of. I think it'll be a closer game than some people think. They think because Ohio State has been blowing everybody out that they're going to continue doing that. I don't think that's going to happen. Could be wrong. If I am, it's not going to hurt my feelings. But I think Ohio State will probably win it by a touchdown. And it'll be Ohio State versus Notre Dame in the national championship game, in my opinion. What do y'all think? Got the NFL football playoffs coming up too. Who y'all got going to the Super Bowl? Y'all got me some Super Bowl picks. A lot of people want to see the Bills versus the Lions or the Lions versus the Chiefs. The Chiefs are going for a three-peat, which nobody has ever won 3 Super Bowls in a row. It's never happened since the Super Bowl era began. What was it? Super Bowl era began when? 1967? Somewhere in the late 60s, right? Well, since the Super Bowl era began, no one has never had a three-peat in NFL football. You see it all the time in these other sports like the NBA and baseball. But in football, if you can three-peat, that's a true dynasty. That'll be something that you can put in your feather and your cap in your organization or your team that nobody will ever be able to touch. Even if they do eventually have another three-peat, you'll always be the first team that three-peated. So Kansas City's going for a three-peat, which will be a new record for the most Super Bowls won in a row. Thunder OU Center said the Prime Minister of Canada resigned today. Well, that's a good thing because Donald Trump seems to think that they might make Canada the 51st state. I saw someone running a poll today about whether we should make Greenland or Canada the 51st state, and I was telling them that you can't make Greenland a state. You can't make Greenland a state because Greenland doesn't have an adequate amount of population. You have to have a certain amount of population to be a state. Canada probably has the population thing covered. So Canada would definitely become a state before Greenland. See, we go everywhere in here. We're all over the place. Now we're in Greenland. Now we're hanging out with the Eskimos, taking a dump in the frozen ice. Baker in the playoffs. Ohio State over Texas, says Thunder OU Center. Fred Bagley has his badge. He's deputized once again. Ohio State and Notre Dame, unfortunately. I agree. By the way, I said before, and I'll say it again, you'll see people in here with a badge like Killer Breeze and Fred Bagley. If you want to get your badge and get deputized, be in the Outlaw Posse, get a random 4 horseman shout out on the podcast as well as possibly the comment of the day. Just hit that join button over there by the subscribe button. And then, of course, there's the big 4, which are all free. Like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Subscriptions and sharing are most important. Really need y'all to subscribe. That's free. It's absolutely free. Hit that bell, too. next to the subscribe button because it'll notify you when I'm up and on the air. Jack Ecker said that Canada's not a real country anyways, per South Park. That's true. If South Park says it, it must be true. You know, South Park and The Simpsons are right there neck and neck in being able to prognosticate stuff. They're like the Nostradamus of cartoons, right? Thunder U Center says the United States needs to buy Greenland to keep China out of the Arctic. That and the Russians. But don't Denmark owns Greenland, right? Isn't it upon Denmark to keep the Chinese and the Russians out of the Arctic? I know. The Danish, pretty small country. The Russians and the Chinese aren't going to be afraid of the Danish. They want to go over and take Greenland away from them, they will. So you're right. The United States needs to either buy it or just take it. What's Denmark going to do? What they going to do? And never, ever talk about Mexico being the 52nd state. Nobody wants that crap hole down there. Any more questions from y'all? Any more questions from the gallery? Just throw it in the comment section. And I'll be glad to answer anything y'all want me to ask. Also, a little money dollar sign at the bottom. You can click on that. Write your comment out, make a small donation, and push your comment to the top and highlight it, and I'll answer your question above everybody else's. All right. Jack Acker says Brent Venables as Oregon's defensive coordinator if OU lets him go. Yeah, there'll probably be a lot of people in the market for Brent Venables as a DC. If for some reason he doesn't make it through next year, I could see Brent Venables. That'd be a nice little combination, wouldn't it? You have Dan Lanning and Brent Venables on the same staff. It's like Arsenio Hall used to say back in the day. If you used to watch the Arsenio Hall show, things that make you go, That'd make a lot of people go, All right, I'm out of here. As I said before, like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel. This live stream will go to podcast after I get off of here. So hit me up on there as well. KMCA to all the other teams. Kenneth Nichols says Puerto Rico and Washington, D.C., the 51st and 52nd states of the United States. Washington, D.C., not big enough. Puerto Rico, really not big enough either, but I could see Puerto Rico. KMCA to all the other teams. Class is now officially dismissed.